Let me tell you why you're here. You're here because you know something. What you know you can't explain, but you feel it.
John Keats looked at the moon one time and wondered what there was in it.
President Kennedy died at 1 p.m. Central.
People should not be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of their people.
Almost no one knew where it came from or what it was. The seemingly mysterious powers and influence it possessed were unbelievable, and its reach was spreading faster than anyone had anticipated. Despite its domineering influence in the name of justice, peace, and unity, nothing could ever seem to stop it. And although over the years it's had different iterations with their own names, it still exists to this present day. Established in 1952 by President Harry Truman, this government organization would already be working for American allies in the aftermath of World War I, and would go on to frontier many wars, assassinations, and collapse of foreign governments, all the while watching you. Who were they? Spying and surveillance are at least as old as civilization itself. The rise of city-states and empires meant that each needed to know not only the disposition and morale of their enemy, but also the loyalty and general sentiment of their people. In history, surveillance is often referred to as spying or espionage. Most often, surveillance is historically recorded as a means to gather and collect information, supervise the actions of other people, usually enemies. But we've seen in history how the very people the government ought to protect can quickly become enemies in their eyes. In ancient times, surveillance occurred most often through the use of an individual spy or a group of spies. However, as technology has developed, surveillance technologies continually affect the way in which surveillance occurred. The surveillance today is more sinister and cunning, as big tech in cooperation with governments not only profit from your data, but also use it to manipulate politics and other affairs in our lives.
Welcome back. Censorship and surveillance, a page right out of the China.
That said, our story begins here, the National Security Agency, the NSA.
But the U.S. had seriously downsized its cryptologic operations at the end of World War II, and the remaining resources were focused on the Soviet Union. The nation's military and civilian code makers and code breakers needed to be united. With the stroke of his pen, President Truman created one truly integrated organization, the National Security Agency.
It's a U.S. intelligence agency within the Department of Defense that is responsible for cryptographic and communication intelligence and security. The agency dates back to April 28, 1917, when the U.S. Congress declared war on Germany in World War I.
We know that if America is to be free, we must destroy the chain that ties the whole misery of American politics together, and that chain is the United States Constitution.
The headquarters was in Washington, D.C., which was later relocated in the Army's organizational chart. The agency was created to make the armed forces and other intelligence agencies work together. But it wasn't just about defending land, air, and sea. But the real war was about information. And as the dawn of modernization came, so did this war, and the market for information would begin. In the hands of analysts, the NSA became one of the most reliable forms of intelligence available to American leaders. America was now relying on the NSA to collect important foreign data and share them with U.S. warfighters.
We have a particular obligation to examine the NSA in light of its tremendous potential for abuse. It has the capacity to monitor the private conversations of American citizens without the use of a bug or a tap. The interception of international communication signals sent through the air is the job of NSA, and thanks to modern technological developments, it does its job very well. The danger lies in the ability of the NSA to turn its awesome technology against domestic communication.
In the 1970s, an investigation surrounding the NSA led to shocking revelations that the agency was spying on telegrams, communications of American citizens under the Project Shamrock. This monitored the communications of civil rights leaders and opponents of the Vietnam War, including Martin Luther King Jr.,
They told us we wouldn't get here.
Muhammad Ali,
No, I will not go 10,000 miles from here to help murder and kill.
Jane Fonda,
As far as I can see it, the establishment is waging a war of counterinsurgency against the students and against the communities, complete with pacification programs.
and active U.S. senators under the sister project Minaret.
For the first time, officials of the NSA revealed Project Minaret, a program of systematic eavesdropping on American citizens between 1967 and 1973. General Lou Allen told how communications were monitored to spot the messages of 1,600 Americans.
General, I know you have
NSA
a
used a
prepared
watch
statement.
list of names supplied by the CIA, FBI, Defense Intelligence, the Army, the Secret Service, and the Bureau of Narcotics and Dangerous Drugs.
In the beginning, the program was launched to monitor people who may be a threat to the country, but later President used it to track political dissidents. And after the shocking event of the 9/11 jolted the country,
Plane has just hit another building.
the extensive death and destruction triggered an enormous U.S. effort to combat terrorism. That year, the mission of the NSA changed when President George W. Bush ordered the use of warrantless
Search is underway for
wiretaps.
those who are behind these evil acts. I've directed the full resources of our intelligence and law enforcement communities to find those responsible and to bring them to justice.
For information about potential terrorist attacks. The program was called NSA's Domestic Spying Program and would go on to be called President's Surveillance Program. Later, President Barack Obama allowed the agency to collect information about Americans under the Bush-era policies. In the aftermath of 9/11, the NSA was happy because they were flooded with billions of dollars and the budget skyrocketed. They went on a building spree and also expanded its eavesdropping capabilities enormously, such as AT&t's 10-story switch in San Francisco.
Have you ever had a classmate
You have a bike?
who's thousands of miles away?
Yes.
Conducted business in a language you don't understand? You will. And the company that'll bring it to you, AT&T.
So, we all know AT&T, right? The happy-go-lucky mobile company most Americans loves. Well, the NSA built secret rooms in giant telecom facilities owned by AT&T, known as the AT&t's 10-story switch in San Francisco. That's one of them, and is one of many facilities the government uses to collude with service providers such as AT&T to mine data. In 1885, for example, the AT&T American Telephone and Telegraph Company, reports revealed that AT&T facilities in 8 U.S. cities helped the NSA conduct surveillance on American and foreign citizens, even if they were not AT&T customers.
Now another chapter has been revealed how telecommunications giant AT&T demonstrated a, quote, extreme willingness to help the NSA. An article jointly published by the New York Times and the investigative nonprofit ProPublica reports AT&T forwarded 1 million emails a day to the NSA, handed over 1 billion cell phone records a day to the NSA, and assisted the NSA in wiretapping internet lines at the United Nations headquarters.
AT&T, amongst many others, has helped the NSA to get access to emails, online chat, phone calls, and other data from customers using its network. Remember, this is warrantless, and it has actively helped the agency process the data, prioritizing communications from certain nations and ranking data based on its potential intelligence value. AT&T's deep involvement with the NSA monitoring program operated under the code name Sagaro. Messaging, email, and other web traffic accessed through the program was made searchable through Xkeyscore.
The documents, which date back to 2008, are internal training materials on a tool called Xkeyscore. This is a program that extracts and indexes a variety of data, including email activity, logins, HTTP traffic, viewed files, and other user activity like chats. What can be stored? Anything you wish to extract. With Xkeyscore, all an NSA analyst has to do is fill out a search field and provide a justification. For example, here's what the HTTP activity form looks like. You just need to specify a time range, what website you're targeting, country, and a justification, and you can find the IP addresses of everyone who has visited that website.
In 2006, Mark Klein, a former AT&T technician and whistleblower, revealed that he met with the NSA officials and witnessed domestic internet traffic being diverted to a secure room name 6418.
We live in a time where the politics of fear are the most persuasive thing on the table. The question is, are we going to change and enter sort of a quantified world where everywhere you've been, everyone you talk to, it's indexed, it's analyzed, it's stored, and it's used maybe against you